Okay, I'm going to call the meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to order for Tuesday, March the 26th. We'll begin by calling the roll. Alderman Barnhill.
Present.
Alderman Blanton. Here. Alderman Caesar. Here. Alderman Peterson. Here. Alderman Berger.
Present.
Vice Mayor Brown is absent. Alderman Potts.
Present.
Alderman Baggett. Present. And the mayor is here. Tonight, the plan is we're honored to have a special guest to give the invocation tonight. This is the season of Ramadan, and it's I'm particularly thankful because part of Ramadan is breaking the fast at sundown. And so they've accommodated us. So we would like to welcome David Osgood, a friend of mine, and also Imam Ahmadul Hadi Sharif. He is the Director of Education of the Islamic Center here in Williamson County. My experience with him, he is a very talented, skilled public speaker and also multilingual. So we'll ask him to do the invocation tonight. I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I do plan on asking for some change in the agenda whenever we get to setting the agenda, and I would like to ask that we move approval of the minutes and the recognitions prior to citizen comments. I have a number of citizen comments, and I'd like to put those after those if someone would make that motion. Given that, where's the mom?
Good evening and peace be upon you all. I am Imam Ahmadul Hadi Sharif. I'm the Imam and the Religious Director as well as Education Director at the Islamic Center of Williamson County. I'm a husband, a father, a son, a friend, a neighbor, and proud Tennessean. And on behalf of Muslim community, I say thank you. Thank you all for inviting us. Thank you, the council and the mayor. We will start our prayer with the opening chapter of our Quran, especially when we are observing in the holiest month of Ramadan, which includes fasting, devotion, acts of worship, giving charity, serving the community, and so forth. So let's pray. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين, which can be translated to, in the name of Lord, the Lord of Adam, the Lord of Abraham, the Lord of Moses, the Lord of Jesus, the Lord of Muhammad, and may blessing of God be upon all the prophets of God. To compassionate, the merciful, the ruler of the day of reckoning. You alone, O God, do we worship. You alone, O God, do we ask for help. Guide us, O Lord, to the straight path, the path of those who have received your grace, not the path of those who have brought your wrath, nor those who wander astray. Dear God, the Lord of the universe, the Lord of Jesus, please accept our thank for the gift of the life that you had given us, and the opportunity that you have given to some of us to serve this beautiful city of Franklin. Help us, God, to act with good character, conviction, and to listen with understanding and goodwill. O Lord, we ask you to give the council a spirit of service. Remind them that you are all-knowing and all-hearing. Guide them, O Lord, to these leaders, to be the leaders that the people want and love. Help them, O God, to see humanity and dignity in all of us, even when they disagree. Finally, the Lord of the universe, we ask you to renew this council with the strength, the joy of helping to build a prosperous community, a community of equality and justice for all. Our Lord, finally, we ask you to bless us with guidance, one nation, one country, under the gracious God. Thank you.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is setting of the agenda. As I ask, are there any motions regarding changes to the agenda? At the same time, this would include any items that you see in the consent agenda that you would like moved to the voting meeting. If not, I would entertain a motion with the changes that I asked, that we move citizen comments to after recognitions.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to move the citizen comments after recognition.
Do you also include that in setting the agenda and ask for a motion to?
Yes, and setting the agenda and moving that motion forward.
I was gonna move something, so I guess I need to make an amendment, or we haven't had a second yet.
You can make a friendly amendment.
A friendly amendment would be to move item number, hold on, scroll a little bit more. Item number 11 in front of item number 6. So that would, yes.
Yes, and Mr. Mayor, I would gladly accept that motion. I was going
Thank
to
you.
make that after we.
How about I second it and then we're even?
How do you move it for the new business?
Second.
We're setting the.
There's an appropriate motion to set the agenda as, with the modification of moving
It is?
recognition, moving citizen comments to after recognitions, and to move item 11 ahead of item number 7.
6.
Six, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And there was an appropriate second.
Okay, I have a point of order. Can you move an item in new business back in front of old business?
You can do the order of the agenda however you choose.
So you could put new business into old business
I didn't put it into it, I just put it ahead of it.
or ahead of it? It's news to me. I thought it had to be, okay, just checking.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to, I have no communications from the Williamson County Commission. We will now go to approval of the minutes from March the 12th, 2024 work session, March the 12th, 2024 Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, and March 19th, 2024 special work session. Is there a motion?
So move.
Thank y'all. Alderman
Second.
Barnhill, seconded by Alderman Caesar. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to recognitions, and the first recognition I have is for National Single Parent Day. Is someone here with them? Good, come on up.
Yeah. Into it?
I've forgotten your name.
Oh, ahead of 6.
Robert,
Okay.
good seeing you tonight.
Got it.
Many of you don't know that I was a single parent for about a year. So whenever I was asked to do this single parent proclamation, it touched my heart, and particularly since this is a local organization that has now gone national. So whereas on Wednesday, March the 21st, 1984, Ronald Reagan, President of the United States of America, proclaimed March the 21st as National Single Parent Day. Whereas single parents in Franklin, Tennessee are making valiant efforts on behalf of their children under difficult circumstances. We recognize the vital and dual role that so many parents play in raising their children and celebrate and honor the dedication and devotion of these single parents. And whereas Solo Parent, a nonprofit organization started in Franklin by a single parent for single parents, is determined to be a catalyst for Franklin residents to embrace single parent homes and to let them know that they are not alone. And whereas the city of Franklin, along with Solo Parent, is committed to helping single parents raise healthy, well-equipped kids by encouraging, equipping, and empowering them so single parents can better love themselves, their families, and their Creator. The goal is to see a decline in the tragic outcomes that can come from living in a single-parent home. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, along with solo parent, do hereby recognize Thursday, March 21st, in the past, National Single Parent Day. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Y'all want to come up and get your, this is all your staff.
Over to you, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go right in here and we'll get that. This is scary. Vermin's gonna have a camera.
He's scarier than Casey. Yeah, that's.
That's mine, so I don't know, I got some on this one. We will be in touch. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Okay, next is presentation of Just Serve Award to the City of Franklin.
Oh, there we go.
I want to have Sarah explain what
Okay.
this award is
We
about.
just have a little spiel we're going to read. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Sarah Critchlow,
And I am Ryan Udy.
and we are pleased to be here tonight to announce that Franklin, Tennessee has been awarded as one of 6 cities for the inaugural Global Just Serve Cities Award. This award recognizes communities that use the Just Serve platform in significant ways to make a difference. Just Serve is a free application that connects volunteers with the organizations that need them.
There are over 16,000 organizations in over 400 cities throughout the world that are listed on justserve.org. The Global Just Serve Cities Award was originally presented at the National League of Cities 2023 annual conference in Atlanta. Since Mayor Kenmore was unable to attend, we want to publicly recognize the City of Franklin for their efforts in extending a helping hand and lifting others to improve lives and foster connections.
The 6 recipient cities to receive this prestigious Global Just Serve Award were Franklin, Tennessee, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California, Chandler, Arizona, South Jordan, Utah, and Louisville, Kentucky. We know that through small acts of service, great things take place. The goal of justserve.org is to bring hope, goodness, and unity in communities. Serving blesses the giver and the receiver and helps foster empathy, compassion, and a sense of fulfillment.
On behalf of the Just Serve Global Director, Heath Bradley, we would like to publicly present this Global Just Serve Cities Award to Franklin Mayor Ken Moore and congratulate the Mayor, Board of Aldermen, and the entire City of Franklin for their selfless service. We are grateful for your leadership and the positive impact you have had on promoting service in our community. Congratulations.
Good again.
David, you want to get a picture? Sure.
We won't give it back to Vernon, don't worry.
I'll just let the blue. All right. I've never known you to be shy.
Thank you.
I didn't need it.
We may need them tonight.
Oh, my. Hi, thank you. Can we eat now?
Thank you.
Hey.
No, I was going to put
Give it a minute.
I got one now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wait, I have.
Mr. Mayor, as you're making your way this way, I do have a recognition.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I have a quick recognition. This is in recognition to a meeting that took place on Monday, 3/18. And it was a Pratt Lane citizens meeting that we had. And I wanted to just take a minute and thank staff for all that they've done. This was after hours. They came out. Teresa Anderson helped with land use preservation. Eric Connor participated in environmental aspects presentation. Jimmy Wiseman, transportation and streets presentation. Ben McNeil, sewer and water districts presentation. And then, of course, Emily Wright was there, our Director of Planning and Sustainability, and also Vernon Girth, our Assistant City Administrator, were there providing support and also a lot of great information to both county and city residents. And then I'd also like to thank Alderman Caesar, Alderman Peterson, County Commissioner Clifford, County Commissioner Herbert, and County Commissioner Hester as well for attending that and for just providing great transparency to all the citizens, both in the city and the county. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Stuckey?
Thank you, staff, for your help on that. I have two things I want to report to the board on specifically. One is an emergency repair that I have authorized related to a retaining wall repair in the Bakers Bridge area. Street staff, in doing some routine maintenance, discovered a void related to that retaining wall, and so we are moving forward, and I authorized yesterday a addition to the bridge work. Bell Construction is doing a series of bridge projects across the city right now, and with a change order of just over $105,000, we can address this retaining wall issue. And so when I approve an emergency action like this, I need to report it to the board at the next possible meeting. It happens to be the next day that we gave that authorization. So I have provided that approval. As we come back to you, we'll have a formal change order that the board will act on, but I wanted to inform you of that action. There is another emergency repair that I do not have a number on that may require action before we meet next in 2 weeks. There was a need for a repair of a sanitary sewer transmission line. We have an element of that needs to be replaced. We are still working through the exact best approach to make that repair, but if it is necessary, in our judgment, from an emergency standpoint, to do that work between now and your next meeting, I may need to take similar action and inform you. If the timing works out that you're able to take action on April 9th, that will obviously be the approach we take, but I am giving you and publicly stating that those are two unusual but emergency and important actions that we're taking on behalf of the community. So that's one element. Any questions on that before I move to the last piece? Okay. I do want to have Chief Faulkner come up here for just a second. This past weekend, the City of Franklin Police Department received its reaccreditation. The City of Franklin has held an international accreditation from CALEA, which is the Commission on Law Enforcement Accreditation, which is really the gold standard in terms of your police department, law enforcement agency, providing best practices in terms of policy, policing, actions, community engagement, training, all those elements, our support services components that's part of our police team. And this is the 8th reaccreditation of that service. So we are meeting the highest of high standards in the way we serve our community through our police department team. And we're honored to have that reaccreditation and want to just recognize the police department. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, as promised, we're going to do citizen comments now. And we have quite a few. I'm going to limit it to 90 seconds. I would ask respectfully that whenever your 90 seconds are up, that you stop rather than me having to interrupt you with the gavel. So if you'll line up in the following order: Debbie Elliott, Janet Curtis, Rick Canada, Jeff Goodspeed, Tracy Goodspeed, Grant Bennett, I think, or Burnett, and Ann Markham. And then I'll call off the rest in the next group. So Debbie Elliott, if you, everybody would please line up now, please.
Hello. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak. And basically, my questions and comments relate to item 9, which is the changes to the Envision Franklin. I live on the edge of the urban growth boundary in the Mays Creek Basin area, Highway 96 and North Chapel Road. And as we understand it, there is proposed development in our area that is highly dense, and we are confused about how the infrastructure is going to support that development. It is my understanding that their proposed development was voted down a few years ago, and so I'm just anxious this evening to hear what changes have been made that would now allow for that kind of density in our area. And that's my, comment is that I would like to represent my neighbors that oppose the development. And I know that Janet has more information on it, so I'm going to step aside, but that's my, I just want to put on record that our area does not feel like we have the infrastructure from a septic or sewage standpoint to support it, the fire and police resources in our area and our schools, and we just want to go on record as opposing it.
And I'll have staff contact you to give
Okay.
you some information so you better understand what
Okay.
this really is.
Perfect, thank you.
My name is Janet Curtis, and I'm here to speak with you tonight on item number 9. According to the 2017 Mays Creek Basin Survey, 72.59% of the people wanted limited growth, 58.52% wanted conservation subdivision, and 64.84% wanted single-family homes. There was only 15.99% that wanted the sewer extended, and only 11.92% that wanted convenience shops, restaurants, and grocery stores. You talk about detrimental effect on the community. How does this meet your objectives in Envision Franklin when on page 7 under major objectives is to protect Franklin's natural beauty along its edges by preserving scenic corridors and view sheds? Alderman Baggett, Brown, and Berger stated they ran their office on preservation platform to increase open space. The open space may be increased, but it's only allowed because of the dense development to occur and large profit for developers, which again is against citizen survey. This particular land may provide more open space because it is in the 100-year floodplain as zoned by FEMA as an AE and cannot be developed, and there are protected guidelines to develop and depending on design, and water and view shed may not be protected. It also mandates that there be flood insurance, so those are factors into that should be considered. And I will not go on, thank you.
My name is Rick Canada. I live on 4348 North Chapel Road in Williamson County. Happens to be in the UGB. It's a pleasure to be here and meet people that I've never had a chance to vote for. None of us who live in the UGB have ever had a chance to vote for people who are about to make a decision that's going to negatively impact our area. Last time I checked, we are a democratic republic. The people who make decisions affecting our lives are supposed to be our representatives. We have representatives. They're called county commissioners. We get to vote for them. I have never once seen any of your names on a ballot that's been put in front of me. How can that possibly be fair? What right do you have to come and make a decision about our area when we are not part of the city? You want us in the city, come try to annex us. But until that time, we belong under the county where it's 5 acres per. That's plain and simple. I don't know why you can't understand that. I don't know why you think that you have the authority to come when we have not one vote. We are not your constituency. So who is it that you're voting for? Not me, not any of the other members of the UGB out here, because we live in the county. If I wanted to live in the city of Franklin, I certainly could have done so, but I chose not to. Specifically, I moved out of Brentwood in 2006. I did not want to be in a city. I got fed up with Brentwood. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Jeff Goodspeed. I'm a resident of the Watkins Creek community. I'm honestly at a loss for why the alderman or the mayor has or would endorse any idea of turning 600 acres next to Trinity Elementary School from Development Reserve to Village Green. Obviously, no one has talked to any of the local citizens or even the County Williamson commissioners. If you had, you would have understood the shortfalls of infrastructure alone in this idea. During the previous work session on this topic, Vice Mayor Brown said Franklin wanted to have smart growth. I will ask you if adding a residential footprint to over 1,400 homes in this area is smart growth. Let's talk about that idea. First, entire swath of land is county property with no co-adjoining land from the city surrounding it. It simply means it's up to the county to foot the bill for the services and infrastructure, a county that is currently already vastly over budget. The fire department alone currently is in unincorporated Williamson County. There is no fire department. The best the county has is the Arrington Fire Department, which does great, but is no means a level 1 fire department like the city of Franklin. Now you might ask why the city of Franklin Fire Department was to respond. What would happen? Well, frankly, it just means we're going to have to wait a while. Currently, the Franklin Zone Fire Department right now is responding to calls at over 5 minutes per call. That's over 25% longer than the National Fire Protection Association standard. However, if they respond to the 600 acres in question, you're looking at over 9 minutes response time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Goodspeed. I'm a resident of Watkins Creek and come to you tonight to voice my concerns about the development reserve to Village Green. The idea that any planning commission would be interested in placing mixed-use, high-density growth in the 600-acre county boundaries is appalling to me for several reasons. First, the effects on current infrastructure. There's no evidence that the infrastructure can support this kind of growth for our schools, safety, traffic, and roads. Second, this type of mixed-use development does not fit with the aesthetics of the natural beauty of county lands in Franklin. Is this city-like look what we really want for the city of Franklin? This is not why people visit here, and it's certainly not why people want to move here. Third, the impact of the proposed sewer line. The fact that it is proposed to run the sewer line along the creek in Watkins Creek behind existing homes is unacceptable. The established trees in our creek will literally be destroyed. It is not appropriate to intrude on our properties. I ask that you do the right thing and leave county as it is.
My name is Grant Burnett. Thank you for letting me speak. As a Franklin resident, being born and raised in the area and currently raising my family here, I'm here to voice my concern of the zoning classification of Village Green for the area of Watkins Creek and the surrounding areas. It affects on the current and even planned future infrastructure, school zoning and overcrowding, the deviation from the envisioned Franklin plan, and burden of sewer line encroaching on my neighborhood. It is critical that the zoning for this area remains true to the area and allows for sustainable growth and development. Also, that the correct avenues be taken in the correct manner. I ask why is a city zoning declaration being pushed into a county area? No evidence supports the need for mixed-use high-density housing in this area. There is also no evidence that current infrastructure or proposed future infrastructure can support the growth. Top that with sheer financial burden for the development for this magnitude, it would take substantial city funds to run sewer to this area, and a high number of homes will be required to pay for that infrastructure. Envision Franklin notes that new development should fit in the character of the established surrounding areas. Please consider having the property fit in with the character of the area being just as important as paying for infrastructure. About a year ago, as mentioned previously, you considered an option of giving up this area from the UGB due to the difficulty with establishing the infrastructure. I am a resident of Watkins Creek, and I am concerned.
Hello, my name is Anna Markham, and I'm the new Senior Director of Preservation at Heritage Foundation. To summarize my background, I received my bachelor's degree in art history from Barnard College of Columbia University and a master's degree in historic preservation from Tulane University. I've had the pleasure of doing historic preservation work across the country in New Orleans, Boston, Los Angeles, and most recently New York. Franklin and Williamson County have a famously strong preservation ethos, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be working here. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of Heritage Foundation. We commend the Planning Commission's responsiveness to community concerns in the most recent version of Envision Franklin, and we are encouraged by the emphasis on historic preservation in the finished product. The plan makes clear that our community cares deeply about historic preservation, and we're glad to see preservation cited as a defining feature of Franklin in several of your recent meetings. Envision Franklin lists historic preservation and natural beauty as two of the guiding principles for the planning of the future of our city. We hope that the adoption of this historic preservation-centric version of Envision Franklin will ensure that the board will keep preservation and conservation top of mind when evaluating all proposed new development. We also hope the board will now require developments to perform basic construction due diligence by performing environmental, cultural, and archaeological studies of proposed project sites. With the announcement of the Carter's Hill Battlefield Park and Roper's Knob Historic Park expansions, the board has spotlighted the importance of historic preservation in Franklin. It is so encouraging to see you all stake your flag in advocating for preservation. Thank you.
Okay, next, following order, if you'll line up, Heather Boulin, Beckett Boulin, Ann Clancy, Nicole Caraher, Jack Winter Zeller, Meredith Zeller, Emerson Zeller, and Karen Smith. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Bulin, and I also live in Watkins Creek. And I'm here tonight to echo the concerns of our community. My house specifically would be greatly impacted by a sewer line running through an area with very large mature trees, and it would impact the property value of our home. We currently have a beautiful wooded view from the back of our home. So I'd encourage all of you to vote no tonight on that plan and to revisit an alternative plan that would keep with the current community aesthetics and beauty. A high-density area is not what we need, and as stated before, we just do not have the infrastructure for it. And we've already lived through several years of the 96 widening and Taproot Farm becoming now Taproot Hills, and we just don't want to live in constant construction. In addition to those concerns, I wanted to bring something else to your attention that's happened in our community as well. Right by Trinity Elementary, a 200-foot cell tower was placed without any notice to the community. We've been working with the county and the county commission, and they just last month unanimously passed a measure that would require all new cell towers be 1,500 feet from schools. We're working with the state on a measure that would match that, so I just want to encourage you that when that comes to you all, that you pass that as well, and just try to maintain the sleepy, quiet, beautiful area that we have over by Watkins Creek. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Beckett Buell. I live in Watkins Creek and Clinton State. I hope you will vote no tonight on plans that will impact your neighborhood behind your house. We have a beautiful old trees in the creek and home to birds, fish, deer, umbrella, chicken, foxes, and more. I'm worried if you destroy them, they will have no place to go. We would shed them in the waterway. Please consider another line to avoid our neighborhood and our creek. Thank you for your time.
Good job.
I don't know if it's actually my turn.
Go ahead, it's fine.
Just
Go
tell
ahead.
me who you are.
I'm Nicole Caraher. I live on North Chapel Road. And on behalf of myself and my family and my neighbors, it is my request that you do not recommend or accept a change to the designation of any land in the UGB from development reserve to village green or agri-development or anything of the likes until you have had enough time and information to justify such a change. Setting a placeholder zoning before having the necessary information is a foolish move. Please exercise common sense and listen to the people and kick the can down the road until you have enough information and the studies have been completed to make a wise decision for the delicate ecosystems a zoning change could irreversibly damage. I ask that you be prudent and exercise common sense. The Envision Franklin plan will get revisited. There's no need to rush zone designation since nothing can actually be done or built before the studies are done anyway. Please have common sense and don't push against the citizens of this community when you don't have to. Please don't recommend or accept a recommendation for an Envision Franklin plan without the due diligence to make an informed change. Please be patient and allow for time to make the best decision for our community, the delicate ecosystem of the Mays Creek Basin, and the Harpeth River, which it directly tributes to, which is the lifeblood of our beloved Franklin. Please do not rush this. Please think about this ecosystem.
My name is Jack, and I live in Watkins Creek in Franklin. I am speaking to you tonight to ask you to vote no tonight on any plans that may impact the neighborhood behind my home. We have lots of trees and a creek that I love to play in with my friends. It is home to lots of animals and wildlife, and if you run the septic line back there, you will destroy their homes and the beauty of where I live. Please, please, please find another place for the septic line that is not where I live. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Meredith Zeller, and I'm also a resident of the Watkins Creek community. I'm here tonight to ask that you not change the 600 acres along Highway 96 east of the Mays Creek Basin from Development Reserve to Village Green. We respectfully request that you consider an alternative designation for this property for a number of reasons, but as residents of the Watkins Creek community, we are very concerned about the potential of the gravity sewer line being run along our creek. This creek runs immediately behind our home, and it's our understanding that there are a number of mature trees that would have to come down to accommodate that sewer line. We believe there are alternatives to use pump stations and run the sewer lines elsewhere. While this may add additional cost to your sewer expansion plans, we hope the city will agree that it is not right to intrude upon our neighborhood's property to do so. In addition to the concern of the sewer line, the idea of changing our area to Village Green will drastically impact the quality of life of those of us who are in the Mays Creek Basin area. There's already significant development happening with the additions of neighborhoods along Highway 96, but by allowing the area to be developed with townhomes, duplexes, multifamily, commercial, and potentially industrial, it will in no way fit with the character of the area and feels severely out of alignment with what is set forth in the current Envision Franklin plan. Thank you.
What was your name again, ma'am?
Meredith Zeller.
Okay, great. Thank
Sorry,
you.
and
No, you said that. I just
That's
got my
okay.
cards mixed up.
Hi, my name is Emerson Zeller, and I am a resident of Watkins Creek in Franklin. I'm speaking to you tonight to ask you to vote no tonight on any plans that may impact my neighborhood. I'm 11 years old, and I have lived in this neighborhood since I was 1. Back there in the forest and the creek, there are many memories, to experiencing nature to face planting. I would really, really love if you would not make this decision and find another location to place the septic line. If you, okay. I know there has to be other options for the septic line to avoid destroying our neighborhood, and I am begging you to please consider one of those. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ann Clancy. I live in Watkins Creek subdivision, and I'm also here to ask you to please vote no tonight on number 9, the reclassifying of the 600 acres to Village Green. My neighbors have done a great job expressing our concerns about the infrastructure and the sewer line and everything else. So I'm going to take a different angle. The proposed drawing shows some commercial or high-density development in the corner on the northeast corner of North Chapel and Murfreesboro Road, 96. You may or may not be aware, there is not a traffic light at that intersection. Coming from our neighborhood in Watkins Creek, and even the people that are coming from the ball fields and the soccer fields, trying to get out onto Chapel Road and trying to get onto Murfreesboro Road, you about take your life in your own hands. So if you put development on that corner, no one is going to be able to get in and out of there. And people are going to get killed. There's already a number of accidents that happen there. We need we've been told there's no light coming. Any more development, any more traffic, is going to be more accidents and more people getting hurt. So I would ask you to please defer your plan. Please look at your plan again down the road and make sure you're making the right decisions, because it has an impact to people's lives when you make too much infrastructure and you don't have the facilities to support it. Thank you.
Wow, that's a thick book. You have 90 seconds to read it.
Well, my name is Karen Smith, and I live in 4343 North Chapel Road, and I've been coming to these meetings a long time, and I've seen the changes here and there. But obviously, I'm here to talk about the Envision Franklin Adoption Plan, draft plan, and the 600 acres across from Highway 96, referenced as Village Green. You all know that this area has 2 major creeks, Mays Creek and then another one, Seawood Hills Branch Creek. Both flow into the Harpeth River. These creeks and the tributaries, the floodplains, the wetlands, the stream buffers are not labeled on any of these maps, on any of these design concept maps. But they are important because they're referenced in the City of Franklin's UGB Development Suitability Analysis as weighted factors when considering development in an area. Floodway, floodplain, wetlands, and stream buffers make up most of that 70% open space in Village Green. Open space is great. Everybody loves 70%. That's the highest number we've seen. Some are 50, but we have 70%. But it has to be there because of the land use policies in place. So now I really want to focus on the 30%, the developable area. Duplexes, townhomes, single-family homes, multifamily units. So that means about 3,000 more people will be moving into 30% of the land. And the same study says that there has to be sewer available. We've already talked about what is the sewer plan. So I just want to say I really appreciate you all taking the time to make and envision Franklin, but it should be the vision of the community that lives there. And I would request that you would not adopt this plan. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the citizen comments cards I have, and we're going to now move into the consent agenda, and all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They'll be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. We're looking at items number 14 through 25. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Appropriate motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Potts. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to item number 11 as requested, which is consideration of City of Franklin contract number 2023-0239 with STV Inc. for City Hall Owners Representative. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Appropriate motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Baggett. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
No.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
No.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-2. Next is item number 6, is City of Franklin contract number 2020-0041 with OHM Studio 8 Design for a professional services agreement for $5,350,000 to design new City Hall facility, Phase 3 design, development, and construction documents. Is there a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to defer. Make a motion to defer until this till the second meeting next month, whatever date that is, and 4 weeks from tonight.
I'll give you a second, and I'll give you a date. If you'll hold on a second.
All right?
I'm sorry, April?
April 23rd, motion's deferred to April
Motion.
23rd.
Second stands, yes, sir.
Appropriate motion. Ready to vote?
Just discussion on this, Mayor, if we could. Clyde, can you help me understand why two meetings instead of one, or what's the?
I want to make sure that the people that we're hiring to do the work that we're asking them to do has time to look at this item right here.
Okay, I understand. I thank you.
I wanted to voice that as we were going through a work session. I think that's an excellent idea. This gives them, and if they need more than the 4 weeks to save several $100,000 possibly, don't hold me to that number, but that's what we would hope. That's what we're looking for, is savings across the board. As Alderman Blanton had pointed out, it's time and money that we're trying to save. So I fully support this.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate the reason why I wanted to move the item we just voted on is because it would give an opportunity if we selected an owner's rep or C, whatever you called it. This is part of the scope of work that we wanted to include. So I would hate to lose the opportunity to have input on that large of amount of money, even though it's kind of like the third or last chapter of what we've been walking. So just to offer that as explanation.
Thank you for that. My only question would be is if 4 weeks isn't enough, then we can certainly
Go back and do it again.
But I don't.
Since they'll be talking to us so much, we can ask them.
It's true, and I don't want to, I guess my point would be, I don't want to delay anymore if we don't have to, but support the movement there.
I don't believe that it would need to last much longer than 1 month. They, over the last 4 weeks, if you read the first iteration for the last vote, which was a month ago, and then read this iteration, which if you get tired, you can go through and read, and you'll learn a lot. But it has been modified quite extensively from the last version, where I was concerned with going into that. But I think a month should be fine, I would think, but we again rely on the owner's rep to give us that advice.
So what's the date again?
23rd.
23rd.
4/23/2024.
2 meetings from now.
Yeah, a month from now. I guess you'd call it one meeting in between.
Ready to vote?
And may I ask another question? I don't understand why we need a whole month. I
gave a
think we're
second.
delaying on, okay, I can't see it. All right, thanks.
Ready to vote?
Well, yeah.
Do you want to say something, Alderman Baggett?
It's kind of awkward because we've got our new, got an owner's rep here, but is 2 weeks, it was a month, okay?
Let's don't do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think we do that.
Appropriate.
But I understand, but I think these are the kinds of questions.
But you can't ask them the question.
Understood, but I think these are the kinds of, this just further illuminates why we don't know. So that's why we need somebody to tell us. But 1 month is fine. Motion, call a question.
Ready to vote then? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
No.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. Next is ordinance 2024-06, an ordinance to rezone 26.27 acres from Plan PD .71 district to residential R1 district for property located south of the intersection of Crossway Drive and Castlewood Drive at 2208 Crossway Drive. Established a public hearing April 23rd, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Potts.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Caesar. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 8 is ordinance 2024-07, an ordinance to rezone 25.64 acres from Plan PD .71 to Plan PD 120,000 district, property located at 1190 Lewisburg Pike Tuckaway PUD subdivision. Established public hearing April 23rd, 2024. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Potts.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 9 is Resolution 2023-73, a resolution by the Franklin Municipal Planning Commission to adopt a comprehensive update to Envision Franklin. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Appropriate motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Baggett. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
First of all, the people who spoke tonight talking about Envision Franklin, that's technically, something that the Planning Commission sets up. It doesn't rezone anything, but this is, I guess, saying that the Board of Mayor and Alderman is recommending it. It's because it really won't come into effect until the Planning Commission decides on it. I think that there have been several things that have been brought up that probably need to be looked at, and I'm the alderman on the Planning Commission, so I think it's probably not going to be on the Planning Commission agenda for, not for this month, but for next month, maybe? Is that right? Next month? Mm-hmm. So it might be worthy to look at some parts of that because, as I say, the idea of Village Green is there's some good parts to it, but then there's some other parts that I have concerns about too. But that's not the only thing.
Other comments? Alderman Berger.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask planning to speak to a few of these things. Andrew? We're not rezoning anything here tonight. We're not annexing anything. Oh, by the way, for Watkins Creek, I've met with Commissioner Lawrence out there on that creek sewer thing a long time ago, and for the 600 acres that they're designating Village Green, when in the years and years in the future, because nothing's going to happen out there for a long time, they do not need to run sewer through Watkins Creek to provide the sewer to the 600 acres. There's a system, for that. Those acreages will go south and not north through that development. So that's, I know we talked about that a while back with Commissioner Lawrence, and just want to share that. But Andrew, can you tell me, we're not zoning anything here. This is not set in stone. This is a plan, but why you all felt 600 acres should be pulled out or taken out of the reserve, put in that for planning purposes, for going forward. I've got another question for you as well. Can you speak to that?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor and Alderman. The Envision Franklin plan is a land use plan. It's not zoning. There's no annexation taking place with this plan. We plan for the whole urban growth boundary, and the state gives the city that authority to establish those urban growth boundaries and then to plan for them accordingly. Most of the Mays Creek Basin is in development reserve. The property owners of the 600 acres did approach through the public processes that we had in the last year to consider designating their property something other than development reserve. So that was considered throughout the process and discussed at various public meetings. The Village Green design concept is new, and it seemed like an appropriate future land use for that area in order to preserve significant amounts of open space, but to also allow some development along a busy arterial corridor to Murfreesboro. So I think what we heard from the decision makers through the process was to allow for some future development along the Murfreesboro corridor and then transition away from the corridor in density and intensity. So that factored into the recommendation.
Thank you. And I just want to clear up a few misunderstandings I think that need to be said here tonight, and you go and talk to the Planning Commission about this as well. First of all, there was no proposed development. They had talked about development out there years ago, but there was no vote taken on it. It was not voted down because there was no vote taken on it. There was no access to sewer. There was no access to utilities out there that they needed. So that, someone said they voted it down, but that was not correct. There was no vote down because it never got to us. They were just looking at possibilities of what could be there. The other thing is someone said flood insurance and we're not building in the floodplain out there. In the future, we don't do that. We're cognizant of that as far as that. Then the other thing people said, and someone said in these emails about not having sufficient notice of the issues that have been given to the residents. I've been working on this how long? How many? About a year and a half?
We basically early 2023, so
Yeah.
well over a year.
Okay. And we've had multiple public meetings. I just want to be clear. I want to go on record with that. So I know people say different things and misunderstandings happen or they don't get all the information. I want to make sure that we are getting that information out. This has been a full year coming. And this meeting, by the way, was not a coincidence of it's a coincidence, just scheduling over spring break so that we could hide it from people. Anyway, I want to move on here. I want to make a few more comments, Mr. Mayor, if you would. Someone said, I moved here 2 years ago and I'm disappointed with the rapid growth that's happening. Additional construction, everything sort of needs to slow down. Traffic is horrendous, blah, blah, blah. Somebody's moved here 2 years ago. I was part of the problem in 2003. I brought that growth, 2004, 5, and 6. So, yes, two years, and now we need to shut the door and stop everything. And I just want to caution us on that kind of thing. And talking about a moratorium or a stop all development. I don't believe our city believes in moratoriums because when you stop growth, you get yourself into more problems, especially when there's a downturn that will come, because that's the cycle. There are someone mentioned about arbitrary boundaries that were, and I think a gentleman spoke here tonight about establishing it without consulting the people who live there. And we have consulted. We've had public meetings and people have come in and they've spoken to this. I think that's why the planning department, along with the planning commission, has been so cautious in how to approach this area. Village Green may not even happen out there, but it does allow for a lot of open space, and it does allow for farmstead as well, which is rural development. And we could go to agribusiness or agri-development with even more open space there. Who knows? These plans are not even talked about yet. We are looking at a land use plan that is a plan. It's a guide. And we are required to do this every 5 years. 5 years, we might change it again. Might come in and speak to it again. Who knows? But we are doing a Mays Creek Basin study for our sewer currently. When is that going to be done? Do we know? About 5 or 6 more months, possibly?
I know the water department has been working on that since the late.
So about 6 months from now, we'll have that possibly. Yeah, something like that. That's fine. I don't need any. I don't know any. I don't need.
I think sooner than that.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's been underway since
6
the end of
months
last
at the yeah, right. And so then I've asked for a regional plan to be done in this area because we all deserve a regional plan for this area. We need good planning, but we have a 4 and 5 lane highway coming along this area that's eventually going to go all the way to Triune and then eventually all the way out past Murfreesboro. So, we all know that when you have a 4 and 5 lane highway, there will be development along the highway, but we have to be very cautious. And I want to go on record saying this again. I've said it before. Very cautious of how we do development. It needs to be so it fits the character of the area. That doesn't mean there won't be some density or density maybe in the core of it, but on the outside and around it. And when you're driving down the road, you don't want to see houses and all this density. You want to see rural landscapes. And in the back of it, the north to it and the south to it, how far do you go? Well, we usually stop and we usually are limited by gravity sewer. And so that limits us right there. But I think we shouldn't get ourselves too worried about a lot of things that are coming down the pike in the future. We should speak to it. We should say, yes, we're concerned about it. And I'm glad to work with the county commissioners out there. I know Greg Lawrence very well and Pete Stresser very well, and I'm glad to work with them on it. But I just want to clear up those things because there's so many things that have been said in these emails that came in that are not correct. And having your voice, talk to your county commissioners. They talk to us. They talk to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. There's so many other things, but let me say something else. Homes, townhomes, duplex, multifamily, and even apartments and industrial, not going to happen. We are not doing industrial in those areas. A lot of things. Apartments, no, I'll never vote for that, not for apartments. And I think that when people eventually, when we get our Mays Creek Basin Study done, and we get our regional plan done, and then we have something to say, hey, it's going to be 20 years before sewer even gets out there. Fine. Or could you do it in 10 and do some development along the way? So people between the Trinity School and into our city limits that are talking about selling some of their land as well. So there may be coming some development there, but people have to be asked to be annexed in and be developed in the city. We just don't do that on our own. We cannot by state law. There are a lot of other things. I mean, I have 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 pages here. I could go over some of these other things that are not quite correct, misunderstood, or worrisome. You have concerns, and I get that. And I appreciate concerns. And I'm willing to listen and to talk to you all about it. But I don't think what the planning department and the planning commission and we are all doing and through all these meetings is detrimental to the area at all. I don't think it brings massive development, massive, hundreds and thousands of houses, I've heard people say. We will never know what the plans will be until we get to all of these studies, all these things to do before we have lots of homework to do. We have a lot of work to do, and we are years out from this area. And so we'll have this discussion probably again in 5 years. And that's great, we should, but we're going to do some work, and our staff's going to be doing some work, and we have a lot of work to do in the next 5 years, and we'll be back here again talking about this. So I just want to share that with you.
After he finishes, I'd like to make a comment.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Alderman Peterson.
Well, I was just
You
going
can
to
sit down,
say.
Andrew. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
The idea of Village Green, as best I know about it right now, is that would be, is it 20 or 30% of the
30.
acreage? 30% of the acreage
37.
would have
Development.
a lot of different things that could be developed there, and the rest of it would have to be open space. But if you stop and think, as some people have said about a few of these places, they're mostly floodplain, so that would not be buildable land anyway, but it's still counted as the 70% of open space there. So there is really something to think about looking at that again, and as I say,
Can you speak to?
I know some of the places that say they wanted to still stay in kind of conservation and everything, especially if they're in the UGB and not in the city of Franklin. So I think there are some things to still think about.
Mr. Mayor, can Andrew speak to that the floodplain issue? Because that is worrisome for some people, for all of us, actually.
Just for clarity.
Yeah, clarity.
For clarity, and of the two properties, it makes up about 600 acres. There is floodplain on both of those properties, but it's not 70%. It is well below that. Of the floodplain, we would suspect that area would be carved off and part of the big contiguous blocks of open space.
So that, you're saying, so 70% doesn't encompass,
It would
Near-
be
near-
beyond the floodplain, well beyond.
well, beyond.
Yes.
Okay.
And haven't you already said that that owner has talked before about developing?
They did come in for a plan amendment several years ago
Which we did not do.
that ultimately did not pass at the planning commission. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we never got it. Yeah.
Okay, you ready to vote?
Mr. Mayor, can I just make one more comment?
Sure,
As-
Alderman Caesar.
I appreciate that. The note I've taken tonight is that I think great cities plan, and even better cities have an engaged constituency. And so seeing these young people come and share their opinions on this stuff that they're probably going to be living with when they're our age, if these developments go, if the annexation happens and is approved by the residents of that area, makes me really proud about where we are, because it's nice when the community is engaged. They're getting answers to some questions. Sometimes misinformation gets out there. And so I would just leave the audience with that. Stay engaged, continue to participate in different things that staff puts on so that you can be well-versed and you can have an understanding of where maybe the future will be for your residents.
Thank you.
One more thing. I appreciate the Heritage Foundation making that statement and acknowledging that this Envision Franklin, it was intentional that preservation was included. And we're actually, hopefully in this next budget, we're almost there. There's money for a new preservation plan for our community, which I hope you all are extremely engaged in. And we can address a lot of those things you talked about and actually see this come to fruition. When you look at what the Village Green is trying to accomplish in these rural areas, greenfields, you can have developments, quite frankly, I'm just looking here at Watkins Creek, where 70% of the land is pretty much developed and 20 to 30% is open space. And so you have suburban sprawl, right? Neighborhoods, 20, 30% open space in a single-family neighborhood. And then you look like, you go out your Highway 96 here, and you look around, and it's just single-family neighborhoods everywhere. Okay? Designed just like Watkins Creek, which is a wonderful neighborhood. What this board has said in this plan, what the Planning Commission has said, actually, because this is their document, but what we have provided input in is that, wait a second, we don't really want mass subdivisions out here. We don't want every square inch of grass to have one house per acre and turn into Brentwood, which is just house after house after house, and doesn't even look like rural character. So look at Village Green as a starting point for this for any developer that might come forward, that they have to start out by working with this parameter that 30%, they can only build on 30%. And then each plan that comes before, so 70% just out of the chute has to be open space, rural character. Then any specific plan has to come through Planning Commission, and any type of building use or mix of single family and this and that, Planning Commission gets to decide on, and so do we. So I just want to say that just to give some assurance to the residents that that's the vision here. And there's about 50 more steps before anything was ever approved out there that you would have input in. But instead of, you said 60% of people responded they wanted conservation subdivision. Well, let them know. They're going to get 20% more open space because conservation subdivision only had 50% open space required. So 20% more is your starting point. Yes, Alderman.
Let us say, though, that things in the county now have to be 5 acres per unit for 5 acres.
Within the, not in this,
In the county,
this
in the
is in the
county, in the county.
UGB, so they can do 1 house per acre, correct? So they,
No,
They can. They can.
Wait a minute.
The county zoning in the UGB areas is MGA 1, which is 1 unit per acre.
So one house per acre or 70% open space.
But
I think we thought about this, y'all. I mean, really have. We really want this to remain rural character. And we want that to happen. I am finished. Thank you.
Previous
Well-
question.
okay.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, one quick comment that this is a recommendation vote to the Planning Commission and for all the citizens in
Yeah,
the
they
room
can-
and at home. There is a public hearing planned for April 25th at the Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you for that. Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
No.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes 6-1. Item 10, Resolution 2024-17, rejecting the January 24th, 2024 construction bid for the Liberty Park Bridge project. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next is contract 2024-0068 with Tennessee Department of Transportation for the City of Franklin's ADA, American Disability Act Transition Plan Self-Certification. Is there a motion?
So moved. Or second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson, for the second. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to item 13, consideration of reappointment of Justin Stelter to the Tree Commissions. He's with us tonight.
Move for approval with comments.
And you're recognized, Alderman Blanton.
Poor Justin stayed throughout this whole meeting, thank you, but I just want to say Justin has been serving on the Tree Commission for a long time. I think we're probably at about 12 years, and he's been a great asset to our community, a wealth of knowledge, not only of historical and heritage plants, but when we really need his input, he always steps up. So I want to thank him for re-upping your service to the Tree Commission.
I take it that means you will vote for him.
Yes.
Ready to vote?
To see.
Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Caesar.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Congratulations, Justin. Thank you for your service. I now need a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Second from Alderman Potts. Can I do all in favor? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Hearing none.
all in favor say aye.